on the 27th year of the celebration of the People Power Revolution, President Benigno Aquino III signed the Human Rights Victims Reparation Act, a landmark law passed by Congress that human rights victims during the Marcos rule. Joining us tonight is Human Rights Chairperson Etta Rosales, one of the 10,000 human rights victims. She was among the first members of the House who championed the law. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome to News Live.
Good evening, Robert.
Ma'am, 27 years was a long wait and many of the victims were casualties. How significant is this law for those living and the families of those who died who suffered human rights violations during the Marcos years?
Well, first of all, the passage of the law shows that the state is obliged to give compensation to victims of human rights violations. So it's a mandate of the state to give compensation to victims of human rights violations. That's very important because, secondly, it shows that for the first time, the government of the Philippines has actually declared Marcos guilty of human rights violations. This is the first time, remember, after how many years? 27 years? That was a long, long wait, and yet it was only now, under the presidency of President Aquino, that the government actually came out decisively to say that Marcos is guilty of human rights violations. So, being guilty, they give compensation to the victims. And what does this mean also? Number three, it also means, as was brought out a while ago, this can be the beginning of a healing process of reconciliation. And what it means is that soldiers, it should rectify, the bill itself passed into law should in fact rectify the many lies about martial law that went unresolved across generations. For instance, it was during this time that even institutions were eroded. Soldiers were made to serve only the conjugal dictators, and policemen were at the service of the dictators. I think that all of these things should be rectified because soldiers and policemen must be protectors of our national integrity, of public safety, and of the rights of the people. So you can see the things that have to be rectified. Even our institutions must be democratic and must be at the service of the people.
Ma'am, 10 billion pesos is the amount allocated for the reparations. Will this be sufficient enough to cover the claims of the victims?
Well, I think that it can never really be sufficient to address the loss of lives by those who were left behind, the loved ones who were lost. I don't think compensation can ever really compensate for this loss of lives. But at least what is important is that it shows that government is responsible and government is categorical in saying that if victims of human rights violations are the state, then it is incumbent upon the government to provide compensation, reparation, and recognition.
Now, going back to the compensation, how will the Claims Board implement its mandate? There's a process here, and there is a point system which will determine how much each victim can claim. Ma'am, can you enlighten us a little bit on how this will work?
Well, first of all, once the government, the president, actually chooses the 9 people who will administer the Board of Compensation, the Board of Compensation should start looking into the applications by the victims of human rights violations. And this will probably take about 6 months. I think they're given 6 months to be able to finish with this. Once they finish with all this, the total number of victims that have applied and that are now legitimate, then they'll start working on classifying who are the summarily killed, who are the disappeared, who are the tortured victims, who are the illegally arrested victims and rape victims, and so on and so forth. So the government, the Board of Compensation rather, should start classifying and categorizing this. And the point system that you mentioned, Robert, would address, the highest points given to those who were summarily killed and also the disappeared. And then, of course, to a lesser degree, people who were tortured and who were actually illegally arrested, and so on and so forth. So it is intended that after the 6 months, they will be given 2 years to finish everything. No? Kailangan may hangganan yan. In other words, hindi na ka pwedeng tumanggap pa ng mas marami na claimants. Kinakailangan within the 6 months, maubos lahat yan.
Will there be a minimum or a maximum on how much each claimant will get?
Mahirap sabihin I don't want to guess. Kasi kailangan malaman mo muna, ilan ba sila? Halimbawa, 9,539 yung class suit. Meron din naman nagdoble siguro, so baka mababawasan. Tapos doon naman sa amin, sa CHR, meron kaming 6,000 cases. And I think there are about, siyempre, sa bawat kaso, there's more than 1 victim. Siguro 2 victims, yung iba nga 7. O sabihin na natin 2. O di yung 6,000 na yun, di 1 dosena na yan. So idagdag mo yung 1 dosena doon sa 9,539, humigit kumulang, aabot yan sa 20,000 or so. Kaya mabigat din ang trabaho. Tapos maliban dito, kailangan tiyakin natin na lehitimo at tunay itong mga claimants na ito at hindi itong mga peke. At dito ko inaapela ang gobyerno, ang ISAF at saka ang intelligence agencies, kung pwedeng tumulong na sila na yung mga declassified items nila sa martial law, ibigay na kagad upang sa ganun makakatulong yung mga datos nila. The moment you see the victims there, at least alam mo na mga tunay ito.
Ma'am, going back to today, the anniversary with the acknowledgement that there were human rights abuses during martial rule and passing of the compensation bill, there's also a memorial and museum that will be built. Where will this be located and what will be contained in the library?
Well, we're imagining, we're dreaming, we're saying, sana kaya ilalagay yung ating kwan. It's so exciting, Of course, it has to be within reach of everybody. So we're still looking into the matter. We will have to probably get negotiations with people, with institutions that have lots, kung may mga lote sila. Tapos, ano yung lalamnan nito? Right now, we're being helped by the Swiss government to go into the digitization, organization, and classification of files, yung martial law files. We're getting them from ISAP, we're getting them from the National Security Council, we're getting them from the Philippine National Police, yung mga iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno na merong mga ganito. So these are one of the things that we should do. Kasi once you have classified this, digitized it, and organized it for public use, this is a wealth of information that will help the people understand what martial law is all from the point of view of the military.
And as a final word, ma'am, what lessons should we all learn and be reminded of whenever we look back at the past and remember the dark days of martial rule in the country?
Never again martial law. I think that is the main point, because a government is intended for the people, as Lincoln put it, by the people and of the people. So you should never allow government to be used and its instruments for self-perpetuation of a few men against the interests of many. We should always make sure that our institutions, our police, our soldiers, our agencies, and our laws are always for the benefit of the Filipino people.
Okay, on that note, thank you very much for joining us tonight on News Live. That was Human Rights Commission Chairperson Etta Rosales. Thank you for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you very much.